Hey everyone, welcome to a new session in Equip Her Forward. We're so excited to be here with you today. I'm Carrie Pash.
I'm Wendy Perez.
And today we are here to talk about divine appointed relationships and what that all entails.
Oh my goodness.
I know. And we got a conversation today.
We sure do. Absolutely.
So let's jump right in.
Yeah. You know, we were just talking, Carrie and I were sitting here because we were just talking about our own journey, about how we met and our relationship and how completely divine it was and how important it is to be open to those God moments.
Yeah.
Those divine appointed moments in time. And I'll just share a little bit about kind of like my journey. But
I'll do the same.
I am a pastor and have been in the ministry for a lot of years. And I was actually watching a friend go through a really difficult time. And they were walking away from their church. They'd given their life for this church and they were walking away from it. And I kind of had this moment of like, oh my goodness, all of their relationships, which I understand the majority of my relationships will be within my church.
Sure.
I've given 20 years of my life there.
Right.
But all of their relationships were really just in their church. And not only were they feeling the loss of this career, right? They were also feeling the loss of all these relationships. And I remember having a conversation with my mom and saying, I need more friends.
Yeah.
Like I really genuinely need more friends.
That's something we've all kind of said to ourselves at one point or another. I know I can say that I've said the same.
I just needed to expand my borders like a little bit. And I needed, the Bible talks about iron sharpening iron relationships, you know, that relationships that challenge you to be better. And so when another kind of newer friendship asked if I would be on a new platform, I just said yes. I had no idea what I was doing. And lo and behold, I meet you on this platform.
Yep.
And fast forward, I think in about a year, maybe less,
we instantly clicked.
We just clicked.
And then, like you said, within a year, we were just sharing a same, desire and passion and vision to serve women and, align faith and business. And the whole concept of Equip Her just started to flourish.
Yeah, it really
I
did.
know.
And it would have never happened if both of us had to say yes to being on this new platform they were just trying it out, right?
Yep.
And we both just said yes. We both engaged on the platform.
Yeah.
This is why Equip Her Forward is so valuable.
Yes.
It's so important because you don't know what divinely appointed moment
100% is waiting for you.
Woman, business partner, like you just don't know what God has in store for you and you need to be open.
Yeah, and I just love your intro of the story and how, you were challenged. You had that moment of revelation of like, oh my gosh, I need more friends. And for me, I had the same thought, but it stirred earlier differently, just growing up, I, had a lot of just broken friendships, particularly with women and girls, at a young age. And it kind of just trickled also into my adult life. So I almost became, I'm going to say, calloused and hardened to women relationships in general. And I told myself, you know what? I don't need friendships. I don't need women in my life. I'm just fine with my career. I'm happily married. I have my parents. That's enough, So I kind of blocked that off. But I reached a point in my life, the older I got, where I said the same thing. I remember saying, I need friends. Like, I'm a little lonely, life gets lonely if you isolate yourself. And, especially when I had a changing career happening, which can also happen for many of us when we become laser focused in our career, and maybe our teams are our core friends, and we live at the office and we only see the same people outside of the office. And then what happens when a career change shifts and you lose, like you said, not only your career, but your community.
Yes.
And all of a sudden you start to feel a little lonely, And so I can directly relate to that. And so when this new platform came out, I remember feeling ultra just unsure, insecure, like, I don't know, I feel weird stepping out and just meeting new people online, And I saw that Pastor Wendy was part of this community, and I really, God put it on my heart to reach out to her, but I was like, what am I going to say? And it's always like that awkward moment.
Like, we're in our 40s. How do we make new friends?
Yes. And Brian, my husband, is just like, will you stop overanalyzing and reach out to her?
Yeah.
And he was like, God's put it on your heart for a reason. And I was like, and I resisted, but eventually I did. And like you said, look what came forth. Not only a blessing of a friendship for me in my life. Like, God knew that I needed to, connect with you personally as a friend, but also this, new ministry that we've been able to build for others.
Yeah.
So it truly is amazing when you do step into those divine relationships, and a lot of the times it requires us to be uncomfortable, like to step out of our insecurity.
Yeah, it really does. I mean, I think that you have to have I think headed into a moment like that, say, Lord, I'm going to trust you. I'm going to also trust the Holy Spirit in me to discern the situation, right?
Good. Yes.
And I'm also going to trust some of the other people that you've even put around me. And what we found out too, and I think that just made our bond even closer, is we had some mutual friends.
Yeah.
That I think for us, it wasn't like either one of us was completely complete strangers.
Yes.
We had a few mutual friends that we both really trusted.
Yeah.
And so I think it really enabled us to build trust quickly.
Totally.
And I think that's the way God works, right?
Yes.
Because we're not just like out there on social platforms making new friends all over the place and like starting ministries together.
Yeah.
But I just think that when you see how it lined up, God opened up this door.
Right.
We established a relationship for about a year.
Yep.
We had some of these mutual friends that really, I think multiplied our trust factor.
For sure. Yes.
And then the funny part, this is the funny part probably for everybody. They probably wouldn't even believe it.
Wait, what part?
We didn't meet face
Oh
to
my
face
gosh,
until
I
our
know.
first conference.
Wait, it was like silence in the room last year when we were. Oh my gosh, there's a lie. When we were at conference.
Yes.
And you said that you were like, and even more amazing is today, the first time Carrie and I are meeting in person, and people were like, "Wait, I'm so confused."
Stop. Y'all started
true.
a ministry. What the heck?
It was Zoom based for so long.
It was.
And there were a couple of times where I was in Vegas and you were on my coast, but it didn't match up. So we couldn't get to meet before the event.
No.
It was so
You
funny.
met my staff.
Yes.
And you came to the
that's
church. Yeah, but I
right.
wasn't in town.
Yeah.
And
That's amazing. I know.
We had to trust.
Yeah.
And the other thing I think that is really, really cool, because when I look at some of the like divine relationships that God has put in my life, like you said, not allowing the insecurity to just like take hold, because God is trying to bring these relationships into your life in areas that you are weak.
That's so good.
But we want to hide our weakness. Yes. And I remember the first time that you were like, "Hey, why don't we do something together?"
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't remember exactly how I said it, but I just know like the insecurity in my heart that was coming up of being like, Carrie, I will speak at it.
Yeah.
I will like talk about it. I'll promote it. But like I couldn't organize it to save my life. And you're like,
Yeah.
well, then what would I do if like I've been an event planner for years?
like this is the perfect combo. I know. It's true. But yeah, but it's so beautiful because I really believe from the beginning, God had a huge purpose in bringing us together. Like I said, like for personal reasons, but professional reasons too. He knows our insecurities. He knows our strengths and our weaknesses and our passions. And he just like merges them together, for his purpose.
Yes.
And for his plan.
Yes.
And it's a perfect example also of how both of our strengths work together to build up and advance the kingdom.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And it really just pours from an area of passion, like shared passion.
Yes.
And then he aligns the rest.
He really does.
Yeah.
I love that. And I just love the the mutual dependency on one another. It's like, I feel like each one of us in our friendship and relationship, and of course then with Equip Her and Equip Her Forward, there's like a beautiful interdependence that I think is really unique. And I hope that by creating Equip Her Forward, we can help create an opportunity for more of these kinds of relationships to happen.
Yes.
Because one of my favorite scriptures that I've just really recently, just keep meditating on and really asking the Lord to continue to bring those like divine appointed relationships in my life is one will chase 1,000, but 2, 10. And just the multiplication that is in those any relationship.
Yeah.
When God brings two people together with both of their anointings and they are just willing to lay down pride, ego, and all that stuff.
Yes.
Willing to say yes and work together. Like, Lord, whatever you have.
Yeah.
And I just really believe that there's such a blessing in that. And I think that there is more of that anointing.
Yes.
That I really hope our community at Equip Her Forward begins to experience.
I'm believing for that too. And I believe that's going to happen. And I think that it's going to take for some of us, the bold step of being uncomfortable, of saying yes to spark a new conversation online, in our community. Or just reach out to somebody, say you need a prayer, or this is, a piece of my story, or this is where I'm at right now in my career, or asking for help or tips or anything, that is not only going to be helping you, but I really think it's going to be a blessing to someone else too, and you don't even know it yet. And then like these relationships are just cultivated and you don't even know it yet. Like we could not have imagined, we just couldn't, what would have come out of our initial conversations, on Zoom.
No.
Like we could have never imagined it. So think of the beautiful unknown that also exists, right now happening in this community. And it's exciting to me.
It is. It's so exciting. We couldn't even, we started on Zoom, then who knew? Then we started a conference.
Right.
Now just had our second conference and then launched this community. At our first conference, we didn't even have it in our heart. We didn't even know that this
part existed.
In the world.
Yeah.
And that was like another divine relationship, like amazing moment. And then all of a sudden, like, wait, we could do this. This is available to us. Like, didn't even know that we could do this and create this kind of a community.
Yep.
We were trying. We were doing like some Zooms and some emails. And, we were giving it a go. It wasn't like for lack of trying, but God just opened the door through another relationship.
Yeah, and I think that is a beautiful testimony that it's about giving your yes, but then also seeing it through. Meaning whenever you start a new relationship, any kind of relationship, you have to invest in it. It's not just about like, yes, let's be friends, like you have to spend time with the person and get to know them and, communicate with them regularly. And the same thing when you start a new endeavor, you have to, it's about saying yes, but then it's also being just available to take that step and to test it. Maybe it's going to work, maybe it's not going to work, but let's test it out and see what happens. And so I think both of us have those, just woven in, those innate things woven into us, and that's also what made this journey so beautiful so far, is that we both commit and we both say yes. And then we really both put forth the effort of our part. We intentionally serve each other, respect each other in the relationship. It's a continual partnership all around in business and personal. And I think that's also just one thing I've really learned from our relationship is it's super intentional. We respect each other, like we know each other so well, and it works. But really, like any relationship, it takes it takes an investment.
It does.
Yeah.
I agree. And I think too, just to add to that, it takes an investment and like you have to create the space for it.
Totally.
Like it doesn't just, like you said, happen with the intentionality.
Right.
So I know there's things I had to say no to and just, it's like, I can't do no bad things, right? But there's just some things I can't do anymore because I'm going to put my time and effort towards this. And also there's even like some relationships, right? That aren't going to serve me where I'm going. And it doesn't even make people bad people.
No.
It's just that I have a limited amount of time, energy to make investments into. And I need to make sure that I do create space for those divinely appointed relationships. Because if my circle is so crowded with just takers, people that are just like wanting more and more and more, it is exhausting. And I have no room.
No.
I think she's actually in the room because she's directing all of this. But I think about Coco, and she was one of our guest speakers at Equipper. She's just absolutely incredible. Just a total boss. Love her. But what's interesting is that Benny and I created space in our lives. We started out on a new endeavor. We had no idea what we were doing. We were like jimmy rigging things together. We were like making Benaiah, like set cameras up here or there. Our son, yes. We and we just started out,
a new endeavor.
We started out on a new endeavor. And because of that, and kind of like saying no to some things, leaning into something new.
Right.
Coco and her husband Jason saw what we were doing, and they were there.
Another divine
appointment.
Yep.
But we kind of had to take that first faith step. It's kind of like getting on the platform that you and I got on.
And like shooting you a note.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sometimes we have to take those faith steps and just like, okay, we're going to start. I'm not even sure who the person is on the other side yet, but God, I'm going to trust you. You just have to.
Yeah. Yes. And I think it's so true. Everything you just said is such a good reminder that no matter where we are in our, career or our personal life, it's always so important to kind of do a reevaluation because our time is precious. We can never get it back. So constantly asking ourselves or regularly, who am I surrounding myself with? Is it like-minded people that share my values, that uplift me and support me, but also speak truth to me, when I need it? And are these people, people that I can grow with and maybe introducing me and people I can network with to grow in the space God's calling me, introduce me to new relationships. So that's just another powerful reminder that sometimes God prunes you in order to bring, fresh fruit. And sometimes the pruning is a hard season.
It is, yeah.
And it's not saying you have to be rude to people or completely block them out of your life, but your time is valuable. So where are you investing it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a really good reminder. Sometimes we're chasing the pruned branches.
Yeah.
And we just need to let the gardener take them
Yes.
away.
Yes.
They're not.
Yes.
It just doesn't make people bad
No,
people.
no, it's just not supplying fruit for your life.
Yes.
And, maybe it is some form of a toxicity.
Yep.
And so that's okay. Like, but maybe it's just not the best for you,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Wow.
good. It's healthy.
It is.
Needed.
Yes. I'm
Needed
so grateful for
combos.
you.
I'm so grateful for you too. Well, I hope that you enjoyed this session.
Yeah.
Do us a favor and head on over to the community right now. And we just want to know what you think and maybe share a little bit of your story.
I'd love to hear that.
Yes, we would love to hear your stories just about a divine appointed relationship in your life, something that God just opened up, turned around, or maybe if you're like, man, I haven't found that yet, but here's what I'm believing for.
Yeah.
We want to agree
Yes.
together with you in prayer for
Yes.
that. That's why we're here. We are a family in this community. We want to believe that God has those relationships for you. And just always an honor and just so always happy to come in and have these fun conversations with my friend Carrie and come into your home and talk with all of you ladies. So we are praying for you and we love you and we will see you soon.
Thank you for another great conversation. See you soon.